SandChessVB with another episode, and today we are talking about tactical serves, and I hope you have a nice cup of coffee because it's going to take a minute. As usual, I will have an outline and if needed, as needed, and we'll see. I like to improvise when we need to use my homegrown tool for visualization, and the outline is here. So let's dive in because everybody needs to get going at some point. Okay, we have tactical serves, or also known as potential mind games for the server. And there are a number of different aspects that can be considered for the serve. Before I dive into that, I just want to mention that, of course, if your game is all power, you jump serve as hard as you can, and you can keep them in, you go for that every time. Maybe not every time, but often enough, and you may not need tactical considerations if your strength is in the speed or the heaviness of the serve. For everybody else who can not always unleash rockets out of their serve, maybe stay tuned. All right, so we can start with that chapter that I have labeled as target selection, and maybe we can zoom in. Okay, zoom in. Let's see if I can keep the text on the screen. Almost. I'm getting there. That's pretty good. As good as it's gonna be. Okay, so the first couple items are just about as obvious as you could think of. The first one is, of course, you can serve the weaker offensive player and build play defense against someone who is not very strong offensively. That is an option. You can even give him free balls if he's gonna give you a free ball back. Why not? So that's pretty basic. You can also aim for the weaker passer, and sometimes that player is also the stronger offensive player, so it is a trade-off. You want him to shank, whether you get an ace or the other team can't build full offense. More often than can he actually pass, and then he'll be in the driver's seat to win the point. That are some trade-offs. You see it on FIVB or on AVP. Sometimes the teams don't always go for the weaker offensive players. They will try to get an ace on someone who, for example, could be taller, less agile, and maybe will shank one or two. But if he doesn't, he's very likely to score the point. Okay, so you can consider that. Next point is to identify the weaker setter, and of course you set the other guy. So if someone is clearly a weaker setter, then maybe that's what you exploit, and you serve the other guy, and that weaker setter will not give good sets too often, and you can play D from that point onward. That's another approach, basic approach for the game, but not as basic as the other two. So you can think about that. What is next? Yeah, so this is like exploit fatigue. If somebody just run 28 times in a point, maybe you serve him because he's tired. Similar idea with someone who just made an error or two. Uh, he's probably still thinking about it and has built up some more pressure onto himself. So he may just give you another point or another free ball. That is typically the outcome because he's afraid to miss, but he's also afraid to lose the point. So suddenly the spectrum of putting a good offense has been shrunk by the other two options. So so that is another tactical serve you can throw. And then this exploit formation tells there might be either with the setter or with more likely with the passer slash hitter some tells, or it might be a lot easier to read um, when that player hits, and that might be an option to play D when even if he's a good passer or a decent attacker, but you can always read what he's doing. That could be how you start building your defense and start winning, because you can read the guy and react very easily. So that is about target selection. We can go to the next section or chapter. So we want to manufacture some problems with the other team. For example, a short serve, very likely you can force a two ball, and if not, you will most likely have an attacker who has a shortened approach. So not a full approach, slower. It can probably not put as much heat onto the ball as he would love to. So you know that the range of attacks has been shrunk just by that serve. Now the other team may be really good at running two balls, so maybe you don't want to do that. But not everybody is, and especially if you have a big block, the other team will not have a whole lot of room from that serve. Now, that's my favorite, serve deep, middle, float, seam. So I liked it because it delays the decision. Obviously, if the ball is more on one half than the other, it's an easy, quick call on who's taking it. Versus if it's middle, short, or deep, then there is that uncertainty, and at times the wrong player will have to take it because at some point you need to make a call, and if the ball is still floating and floating to the other guy, that might really confuse them. And if it's in the last 3 feet of the court, a lot of times the players will not even want to pass it because by the time they decide that yes, it should be their ball, they might take their chances and hope that it flies away. And that is when you actually want to serve in and make sure they never go deep, too deep, because that's a free point. Those deep float serves, nobody wants to pass them. If I have the option to let it go because I think it's going out, I will. So those you don't want to serve too deep. Of course, we're talking a fine balance here because you want those to land in the last few feet of the court, but you don't want them to land out. I mean, also the added benefit is even if they have a good pass, they are starting their offense from deep deep on the court, even deep middle, they might have to switch and hit from the side that they're not on. So a number of benefits you can get out of that serve. And of course, you can play play further mind games, and if they start to adjust and maybe somebody shifts to take more of that, maybe you can beat him on the line that he just opened up. Okay, another serve that's a little bit harder and geared towards tall players. If you can aim so that the ball will be around their chest. Of course, he has time to move, but if it's coming fast to their chest, it might be a difficult play, and they might be stuck passing with whatever they can. So that's a pretty difficult serve. I mean, in general, if you wanna, the players who are not as agile, yeah, if you can catch them a little off guard, of course, you will trigger some shanks. Okay, what else do we have? We have using the elements, starting with the wind. Okay, so if we have crosswind, and I'm gonna take, what do I have? Left to right, left to right. Well, you can use that wind. So if it's from your left to your right, so it's reverse. Okay. So I will not show it, I will look silly. So if it's from the left to the right, well then you can aim at that left line, even a little bit out, and the ball with the wind will help you to bring that ball back in. So of course, nobody likes to be gambling on a serve that might be going in or out. But so you'll have more room for error using that crosswind. Tailwind. So that you can still use it at your advantage, to your advantage. It is typically not the good side, but you can still use the tailwind. For example, you can serve extra short, and the wind will carry it over the net. That's one way to use it. You can also use it as in serving deep, but not super deep. Hopefully they think it's out when it's really not. But I think that's a little harder to gauge. Of course, the headwind, that is the easiest. Everybody loves to be able to unleash a power serve that is going to stay in. With even when you hit really hard. So make sure you use that to your advantage when you have it. That said, it's an interesting discussion on when you are on the good side. Do you want to hit hard and use that wind with the gamble and the risk that well, it might be a little too hard, and now you wasted an opportunity on the good side, or versus serving too easy and not using the wind all the way to its full potential. So there's some fine balance there that the score might force you one way or another. If you're trailing, I would say you probably need to take more risks as opposed to if you're in the lead. Okay, after the wind, the sun. The sun. So the sun, you can use a few things. Of course, if the sun is behind you, you can maybe line up with the ball under the sun when you contact it or close, or maybe on its way to the other side. But that's not typically, you don't have a big time window for this, maybe at the end of the day, maybe at the beginning, but you can always use that. More likely, you can I think I should flip-flop those two. I'll talk about this first. So the if the sun is just around noon, sky is pretty high, pretty up there, or maybe at a given on a given side slightly, you can have the setter look into the sun. So serve the other guy, the ball goes up, setter looks into the sun, and we'll lose it. That's how you use the sun. Um, of course, you can also do a skyball. Especially if it will cross paths with the sun, even harder. But the skyball, if you have that, you use it. You know you can, you should. You can also throw some deception when you are at the serving line. You can look at on a given angle, and of course serve another. So you can look to the cross and then serve more line. Of course, they will know quickly that you're not serving where you're looking. So you need to mix and match and serve where you look. Because maybe they're like, yeah, I know he's not serving me, and that's when you serve him. And maybe he's a little late. So I don't like that one. I will delete it. You see how prepared I was. Momentum and pressure. Okay. So as I was pointing out earlier, when you are trailing, you probably need some extra points, and you will get them out of serves. It's the easiest or the fastest, maybe not the easiest, fastest way to score. Sure, it is harder to serve an ace when you're down 3 points, but then you're up, but then versus when you're up 10. But that is when you need them, and that is when you need to tune your serve to harder at the cost of potentially missing. And that's okay. Hopefully your partner is on the same page. I'm always okay to weigh that cost benefit analysis. And if we're trailing, I of course can't miss and miss, but we need to put pressure on the other team. Especially those teams that with a good pass or good set, they will just kill it. So if you are on a run, on the flip side, I would make sure they need to earn, the other team needs to earn the point. You don't want to take any risks and stop that momentum. So you sometimes want to ease your serves and make them earn it. Sometimes I serve free ball and then or I will be even on a tight set, be at the block and peel, and maybe they'll just bang one out and then another free point. Okay, now next thing though, so this is not as necessary, but when you have a massive lead, then you have nothing to lose by just serving really hard, and with the confidence, it's more often that your best serves will work there anyway, so you might as well use that time to build on and give yourself even more confidence and unleash those bigger serves. So that was my outline. I'm sure I forgot a number of points, so feel free to add them in the comments. Feel free to share. But only to geeks. We don't want people who are not into stats and science and deep thoughts here. Okay. What else? Thanks for subscribing, listening, watching, and your donations. We are at, let's see, Okay, $348 million. Thank you, keep it up. And I forgot my scene again. There we go. I will do a proper goodbye. And see you. No, don't forget to play beach volleyball as a chess game. Thank you.